What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this beautifully honest reaction.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feel so.
So, we're in week 3, but this is in terms of people who have been getting on the stand to testify week 2 of the Diddy trial. First week was jury selection and all of that stuff, getting all of the preliminaries out of the way. But listen, the more this trial goes on, the more these males, identify themselves so much closer to the male, Sean Combs, who was kicking Cassie, stomping Cassie, doing all kinds of terrible things to Cassie as this continues. And it's disgusting. And I call them males for a reason. They're not men. You would never call a dog a man. You would call a dog, when they're a puppy, you call them a puppy. And then when they're fully grown, you call them a full-grown dog. You would never call a dog a man. These people are males. They're not men. There really is a difference. And I know that because we hear a lot of these voices on social media that are identifying themselves so much closer to the man that was doing a lot of terrible things to Cassie, whether she says she was okay with some of it or not, all of it was wrong. And they're defending this dude. These are not men. So I know a lot of women feel like that all men are like this, but there really are more real men than these males that will sit and feel like, oh my God, if he goes down, then this is going to really change the trajectory, especially for Black males, because somebody like him going down for something like this, she was okay with it. She was down for the cause and she got paid. And then they'll once in a while they'll throw in little jabs like, well, look, I don't agree with him being physically, to her, but she got paid, so she should just shut up about it now. And they're making it seem like this is Cassie Ventura versus Sean Combs. This is the people of the United States of America versus Sean Combs. Now, I don't know if he's going to go down for all of this stuff because, quite frankly, it really just boils down to what the jury decides, and it's out of our hands. We could all put our opinions out there and talk about what should happen or what is going to happen or what we think is going to happen, but we really don't know. None of us are on the jury. And from the way some of these people are speaking, thank God, but I don't know any of the people on the jury. And the truth of the matter is, just because there are more males or men on the jury than women, it doesn't mean that he's going to get off scot-free. It doesn't mean that. So, with all of that being said, I want to share a few voices that are utterly disgusting, but just to give a few examples of the males who are defending this dude while tearing Cassie down, or the industry, or whatever they're trying to make it to be, instead of just saying, you know what? Why don't I just keep my mouth shut about this? Because these people are not being objective at all. And to just brush it off, well, this is just a DV situation, and that's past the statute of limitations, so we should just move on because she already got paid. The monster that person showed who he was in the video that we got to see, which a lot of people, if they never saw that video, they would still be out here saying, I don't believe her. She just was there for everything that she could get out of him, and she got paid, so what more does she want? He's a terrible person. And from what Capricorn testified to in court, which I 100% believe her, he's a madman. So I'm going to share a little bit of this because honestly, I don't listen to people like this, but this was shared with me and I just was like, oh my God, it's hard to listen to, but these are the types of people that are out here defending Diddy. And none of them are real men. They're not in real relationships. They may screw some chicks from time to time, and it's just always an exchange. So really they live the life of, if you want to call it, prostitution and being Johns or being tricks. They live that life because no woman that is respectable would ever give into people like this. It's always for an exchange of money. And it's not just because they're unattractive, because they are. So I'm going to share my screen, guys. And this is the grotesque DJ Akademiks and the comparatively grotesque Myron Gaines of the platform called Fresh and Fit, which I have no idea what that means, but whatever. Both wearing tight jeans, both a bunch of clowns, both, like I said, unattractive. I could go down a list of things, but this isn't about that because really it's about their very unattractive, dark spirits that they embody because they don't love themselves. No real man is out here defending Diddy. I thank God. I feel like Monique, the actress, comedian, I don't have a daddy, like she calls her husband, but when she was on Club Shay Shay, who's another clown, but I digress. When she was on there and she was trying to give him a little word of wisdom, which was, sometime last year, and now he's going through it because he didn't take heed. But she said something to him, and I feel the same way. She said, I would hate to be out here trying. I thank God that I don't have to be out here trying. I thank God that I actually have a real man in my life. It's like, I don't understand what it is about these people that are out here just living these lives that are honestly really dangerous. This dude right here, he should be in jail, at least, if not prison, because if you recall, he was accused of rape by a woman. It's on video how she was screaming in his home, and then he tried to come out and get ahead of the story, and she said that she was assaulted sexually by not only him but two of his friends. And then this one right here, his platform is based off of how all women are nothing but whats, and once you hit a certain age, then you're just like whatever, and it's just disgusting. But let's just play a little bit of it, and just for you to get a little gist of these are the type of people that are out here defending Sean Combs.
Did he step out?
Yeah, he wasn't in there.
Oh, okay.
When they talked about the rape, they got him out of there.
Yeah, because I was wondering because
they argued about that for like a day, bro.
Yeah, in that thing, she admits she cheated on her current husband with Diddy.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie to you, I think that was effective for the defense.
I wish I wasn't in the main courtroom. Bro, I wasn't in the main courtroom for that, but I'll tell you this, when I was in the fucking overflow room, everyone was like, oh shit. Even I said cooked when she said that. Because the defense attorney was like, is it not true that you, when you met with Diddy, is it not true that you had sex with him on that day? Yes, I did. Okay. It's not true that your boyfriend, who is now your husband, FaceTimed you and you declined the call. Yes, I did. Oh, cooked, bro. And that looks so bad because remember, they started with, you said you got raped on this month, but it was really this month. Then it was, why are you communicating with, and they showed the text message. She sent heart emojis and shit. And oh yeah, I miss you. And then they set up to meet up in person, all this other shit. They walk line by line from the rape all the way to the consensual sex.
See, these two clowns, they're the type of people where they're just always feeling like, and it's like, just be gay. I mean, both of them sitting here with these tight jeans on. This one here with the tight jeans that are all the way up to his calves. It's like they always feel like females, because the ones that they deal with obviously are that way. But all they are just calculated individuals that are there to grift and be grimy and get what they can get. But it's like you're dealing with the type of chicks that are like that because it's an even exchange. You are grimy. You're a grifter. You are somebody that is not worthy of being in a real relationship with a real woman. So you're mad that life has treated you this way, even though you may feel like because you, I guess, have a lot of money, you have everything you need. But these are the same type of people that will be old and alone, never experiencing real love. But what they'll do is say it doesn't really exist. So they're trying to manipulate to make it seem like Cassie was not a victim and the woman was. She was a victim. And it is the defense attorney's job to make the people on the witness stand look not credible. So you say, oh, she's cooked now. She's cooked. First of all, she's not cooked because she's not on trial. First of all. Secondly, she was not pressing charges against him in this situation. This is the state. This is the United States, I should say, of America. And it's possible, well, we've heard she actually attempted a few times in the past, and this is not uncommon with victims. And unfortunately, there are victims that have been through a whole lot of stuff sexually with their partners that don't have a lick of money. I know some people feel like, oh, ain't no female gonna go through anything like that for a nigga who ain't got any money. But honestly, there unfortunately are a lot of women who have been victims of DV, and they have been in situationships or relationships with guys that really didn't have a whole lot, but they thought they had their heart. And so they are always holding on to what they felt like who that person was when they first got to know them, not the monster that they really are. And that isn't different when it comes to Cassie.
Made her look terrible, bro.
What was the demeanor of the defense attorney, Diddy's attorney, Estavio, when she says that? Given first day, I thought she was on bullshit.
You know what's funny to me? Because they're trying to sit here and seem so intellectual about this case, when all it really boils down to when it comes to creeps, cretins, males like this is about what's between their legs. It's not about what's in the head. This head on their neck. It's not about the brains. It's about the dang-a-lang and feeling like, oh, well, if he goes down, because they have their own skeletons too.
Because she really was like, I hate to use this term, but she was giving Cassie the noose to hang herself with. First day, and I remember seeing, I said, this sounds goofy. She says to Cassie, oh, wow, you're pretty. Like, she gives her a compliment. And I was just like, yo, Diddy, you got another lesbian on the team. You got to get the fuck out of here.
See, like that, first of all, you sound dumb. That is what defense attorneys do. It's all about trying to make the witness comfortable so that they can let their guard down, so that they could say something that is going to make them seem like they aren't a credible witness. And the jury should not pay attention to anything that actually was true, that was negative, that was incriminating about their client. I was a legal assistant before, years ago. And I remember I didn't work much in the criminal side, but there was one attorney I worked for who did some pro bono cases. And one time he got assigned to represent someone who was accused of taking someone's life. Actually, a female cab driver, a woman cab driver. Just started the job, Black woman, older Black woman. This was back before the days of Uber. And she was just trying to get some extra money so she could buy her children some Christmas gifts. And he was accused of calling a cab, taking her life, and stealing from her. And the attorney that I worked for at the time, he got assigned to represent that person pro bono. He said out of his own mouth, the man is a murderer, but I'm just going to do my job. And don't you know he got him off? He just was able to represent this person to the point where the jury was convinced that they didn't believe there was enough evidence that was presented to say that he was the one that committed this act. And after he was done, the attorney said, yeah, I got a murderer off. So, you know, this dummy sitting here talking about, yo, Diddy, you got a lesbian on your team, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is just so stupid. But see, this is the type of shit that people like this say, because everything with them is about what's between their legs. It's not about anything intellectual.
This is game time. This bitch over here trying to eat some pussy too. What the hell? But come to find out.
Disgusting. See, this is what I'm talking about.
She know I'm for real, because I'm like, yo, ain't no way.
Because I wrote that shit.
Ain't no way I hired this bitch and she talking about you look cute. If I'm Diddy, I'm be like, yo, I freak off with Cassie, not you, bitch. You my lawyer. But she used all of that, and now I get to realize she buttered her up. She got her comfortable, right? Yeah. So she was giving her compliments like, damn, you're a pretty girl, blah, blah, blah. Which, again, this is exactly why I think they brought in a woman to do the cross instead of a dude. If it's Donaldson, first of all, he fumbled on the sex worker, so whatever.
Yeah.
If it's Brian Steele's a bulldog. You bring him in to go get the shit. You gotta snitch. He's gonna turn that snitch into an idiot. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when that happened, and how'd you judge her demeanor from day 1 to day 3? Where day 3 she's basically just saying, "Come on now, girl. You know what happened. You said he raped you, but you were freaking off with him still. You were cheating on your husband with him.
Yeah.
You were texting him A, B, and C.
She was not cheating on her husband. She wasn't even married to him yet. So let's stop that. What they're doing is they're labeling him as he is now, which is her husband. But back then, she was not married to him. So them keep saying, oh, you were cheating on your husband. Now, whether they want to say, oh, well, she was cheating on her boyfriend, she was in a relationship with him or whatever, this all goes back to Cassie being a victim. But see, idiots like these, they don't know anything, neither do they care anything about Stockholm syndrome and other things that victims go through when it comes to the conflicts that they have in their mind, their heart, and in their spirit, where something keeps drawing them back to that person, even though that person is a terrible person and has been a terrible person to them.
How was her demeanor in how she like laid that out? Because it looks slick, even through tweets.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, when you're cross-examining someone that long, it took them like a day, and they got like a full day and a half. Yeah. You know, you got to build a rapport, because the thing is okay, so it's interesting because even the way they were dressed revealed the antagonistic nature of what was about to happen. So on day 1, or when Cassie was doing the first, when she was on direct, comes in, tight dress, super vulnerable, little jacket, whatever, you know, super pregnant. When she comes in for the first day across,
could you see it over the desk, belly hanging over, or it's kind of like tucked in, where like maybe the jurors
the first few days when she was on direct, you could see it clearly. She came in like with the first day, bro. She came in with a brown dress, super tight.
Look like she ready for another,
bro. Yeah,
come on, man.
See, this is the woman was 8 months pregnant. I believe she just went into labor yesterday. And this is all they're thinking about is, look, she was ready for another. See, this is what pregnant women wear these days. They don't wear big maternity dresses and maternity clothing. They wear things that are more fitting. It was not about her showing her figure. She was freaking 8 months at the time, 8 months, almost 9 months pregnant. So get out of here.
The sun was poking like this. I was like, what the I was shocked that she showed up like that. I was like, what is she wearing? But it was to show that she was clearly pregnant.
Oh, okay. I thought she was dressing for like the last and final.
She was in there to show that she was pregnant.
Oh,
like right. That's what.
It's fat. Oh my God, I can't.
Diddy didn't want, bro. So so she does that, right? She comes in. Then when on the first day the defense is doing direct, she shows up, boots, black leather jacket or black jacket, big blouse, right? So you can't see her bump, hair pulled back.
Oh. That quintessential, I'm a lady, I am not a ragdoll whore who's just like very fun.
Well, she also came with like leather boots and shit. Okay. So she was like, I'm here to fight.
Okay.
Like when I'm not
adversarial this time.
Yes, hair pulled back, wearing black, blue conservative blouse, right? That's big so you can't see her stomach, not vulnerable. And she sat down like what? And then the defense attorney also had her hair pulled back. So she was ready to go too. It's very interesting how women fight in the cerebral. You know what I mean? But both of them had their hair pulled back, which I thought was interesting. Match, it is a chess match.
Super chess match.
You know, 100%.
How did both of their demeanors change? Because also I read this, and you can tell me when it happened or what was her demeanor. I heard she started crying at several points, and she asked for a break once.
Yeah, she asked for a break like two or three times.
I'm sorry. Every time he just needs to be in jail. He's disgusting. And the way he came out and talked about that young lady who accused him of R-ing her, he's just a foul. Yeah.
Like, how is this? She's like, well, like, no, hold on, please. I need a break. Or are they passing her tissues? Like, what's going on in there?
When she asked for a break, it was at a time when she wasn't getting a hard question. Okay. So what, like, I know they probably told that, do not ask for a break when you're getting like cooked. She only asked for breaks when it was like, I'll be honest with you, it was reasonable. She would ask for a break like after an hour and a half of questioning. And like the judge would immediately be like, okay. And he would be like, you know, because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So, but she did a good job of like asking for breaks at times where it wasn't bad. Like that would make her look weak. Like, oh no, I need to get a break here. So she did good. And then when she cried, I'll be honest with you, bro, it wasn't that much, man. She cried maybe 2 or 3 times. And it wasn't like at the worst times. I know one time she cried was when she said that like Diddy took her autonomy away with the like towards the end of her testimony, and she would give the money back if she could get back her autonomy, which is like, come on, man, 20 M, come on, bro.
Wait, so there was a confusing part of the trial, and
you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Like, what she meant was, if I didn't have to go through any of this, and I could just exchange not having to go through any of this for not having that money, I would rather have not gone through this. So what he's basically saying is, yeah, you went through all of this so that you can get that money. So please spare me I would rather not go through it if, it meant that I didn't need this, this payoff for all of the pain that was inflicted on me. Because this woman, she's going to have these flashbacks and nightmares and, needing some sort of mental support, honestly, probably for the rest of her life, really.
They said the prosecutors got the better of the exchange, and it was with Cassie on the stand. They claimed that when they had asked Cassie about a message where basically, I guess, Diddy sends to her, yo, do you want to have like a last freak off? And yes. and the response is, I don't want to have a last freak off. I want to have a first or something of the sort.
Yeah, I want to have a first freak off for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and some people felt like, yo, she's still with it. But the prosecutors came back around and said the full context of that was her actually,
like she had a UTI.
Yeah, but also kind of lamenting the idea of freak offs and maybe almost kind of like rejecting it rather than her like saying, no, I want to keep doing this forever. Because the defense was painting this picture saying, yo, Diddy may have introduced her to the freak off, but she started suggesting the freak off. She would text him like, yo, too bad I got to work. I want to do A, B, and C. Like she looked like she was trying to initiate, which I think later the chess match that happens, the prosecutors tried to paint the picture that she only said that because it was the only way to access him. So she would like say, hey, listen.
And that's exactly what she was doing.
Listen, if this is the only thing you're willing to do to be around me, and I'm wondering what you get from the demeanor of their relationship. I really think that Cassie was a side chick fighting to be a main chick.
Yes.
And it was clear that
she was bad enough to be treated like a main chick.
Exactly.
Because she was hotter than, let's be honest, she was
hotter on the rock.
Rest in peace of Kim, but like, yeah, she was the hottest girl that he was dealing with.
Both a bunch of colorists. Both, Kim Porter was a beautiful woman, okay? But see, for some niggas like these, like, that's the type of stuff that they would do. She was hotter than Kim Porter. Says who?
But here's the thing. It feels like if it wasn't a freak off, he didn't spend that much time with her. And she was suggested to get time.
That's exactly what it was. He didn't spend time. He barely spent time with her outside of the freak offs. And during the freak offs, she would be doing weird shit like smearing semen on him.
Yo, it's also
by his request, which is disgusting.
So funny.
Bro, I was shocked when I heard that shit, bro.
Yo, there's a point where she says, yo, I suggested, and you could tell, like, there's a few things that, you run a male improvement podcast, a dating podcast.
Yeah. I was shocked.
When a woman says, if I don't do it, another bitch will, that mentality.
Yep.
Hey, I'm competing to keep my spot. Yo, I looked up the math today. So Dawn and especially Carrie brings it up very clearly. When she says like almost this ad hominem attack at Gina Hill. I don't know how to say her last name. Let's call her Hill. She says, oh,
Cassie hated her, bro.
Yeah, she says Diddy was dating that little girl. And Mark says, why you call a little girl? She was younger than us. Here's the ironic part about it.
Yep.
At the time, that year, when that happened, because Cassie was in South Africa, it's 2015.
Yes.
Cassie is 29, about to turn 30.
Yep.
The girl at the time is 22.
Yep.
And I said this interestingly enough. I said, he met Cassie at 21.
Yeah.
Cassie never thought.
He did not meet her at 21. He met her at 19, barely 19.
Oh, I'm a little girl.
Exactly.
No, but now Cassie's about to hit that wall, bro. 30, and she's seeing him.
You see, this is the misogynistic bullshit that people, these males, and I'm being kind by calling them males, talk about. She was about to hit that wall. What the hell does that even mean? Honestly, when when we're in our 20s, and not just women, females, when we as a whole are in our 20s, even though legally they say we're, we are adults at 18, in some states for the so-called age of consent, it's different in different states. Through our 20s, we're still learning and growing. So the fact that people like this, it's like, oh, you got to get them when they're young, because this is all about them being able to manipulate, mold, and shape into what they want. And then when they feel like, oh, they've hit that wall, then we can go ahead and discard this one for another young one. But you're not staying young. You're getting older every single year if God allows you to continue to live. But like I said, these are the ones that wind up being old and alone. All right. And if they're lucky, they don't get sick before they hit that old age. They know nothing about like real love and relationships and having a connection with someone and building a life with someone. They will wind up being 55, 60, 65 years old, and then looking back on life, and it's like, yeah, you may have screwed a bunch of chicks that allowed you to get something for an exchange, because you're definitely not screwing anybody for free. You're nothing but an old trick. And then you don't even have anybody. You're lucky if you have any family that would want to take care of you without you having to pay them to take care of you, to get you to your doctor's appointments if you need help or whatever like that. It's not even sad for them. It's just, honestly, it'll be their karma, because they see females as objects. And no, these aren't the only ones, but it's a lot of them like that when it comes to these people that are out here that are males defending Diddy. And then, you've got this clown Ray J. It's like, there's been so many things that have happened over the past several months, and I haven't talked about all of this stuff when it comes to Ray J, because with him, it's always something. But now he's out here saying free Diddy.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
A lot of people have been waiting to hear what you have to say since this trial commenced. So let me just start by asking you that very question. It's been running now for several weeks. What is your view of how this case is going?
I think it's kind of becoming a circus, and with all the allegations, and now with everybody explaining like what's happening in the bedroom. I mean, every day it just sounds crazier and crazier and freakier and weirder, right? And I'm like trying to understand, with all this being said, like with Kid Cudi going on and saying everything that happened, but then ended up saying Cassie played both of us. It's like, where are we trying to go? Are we just trying to like tell all of these crazy stories, and then that equals out to sex trafficking? I mean, it's starting to become outrageous. It's a RICO case. It's really only Diddy and maybe one other person. Like, I'm just starting to feel uncomfortable, and I'm starting to feel weird about this whole thing.
Well, it was certainly interesting last week when I interviewed this guy who had the pseudonym The Punisher, who was hired, and it was Cassie Ventura. Right. So it was a sort of very interesting interview, because Cassie Ventura did all the negotiating, did all the payments, and did all the texting to him. Diddy would sit in the corner of a hotel room naked, and he would watch, with her apparent full consent, this guy come in and have sex with her. And it happened maybe a dozen times over a 2.5-year period. Now, none of that says to me that is a serious crime. If she is the one that is organizing it all. Now, she is arguing it was coercion and so on. You know all these people very well. You know Cassie Ventura. You know Diddy well.
She's arguing that it's coercion. This woman did not want to do those. Like, she just came up with the idea and did it. First of all, she was using his money. She was doing everything by his direction. Capricorn Clark, she testified yesterday about how he made her go on a ride with him to go KILL Kid Cudi. Like, do you think that's something that she wanted to do? She came up with the idea and she suggested it. The people that are trying to make the victims be the aggressors in this situation and just make it seem like, oh, he just had a temper. This is just a DV situation. She wanted it. Hey, she got paid millions of dollars. She should be okay. The fact that you're even defending him, even if you don't believe that the RICO statutes have any relevance in what he has done, the fact that you are defending a known, nothing was altered in those videos. He came out and admitted it in his non-apology video in response to that being put out there. You're defending him.
When you saw that interview, maybe you saw the one that I did, but when you saw that guy talk, what was your takeaway from that?
I was just thinking, like, what year are we in? Like, it feels like we're in this vortex of like this dominatrix story about all of these different characters that are coming out and the names and the nicknames. And I mean, it's intense. I think that it's entertaining for sure. And it's definitely press worthy. But at the end of it all, it's like, this is what Diddy is being charged for. And this is what he possibly might serve a lot of jail time for. I don't understand it. And I really want to know where this is all going to go and where does this lead? Because again, it's weird. It's freaky. Like the
it's not just weird and freaky. It's dangerous. This man, like, Kid Cudi's car was blown up. He let Cassie know that he was going to do it. He was going to be out of the country when it was done. Do you really think that he did it himself? Of course, he orchestrated it to be done. That is the whole point of this RICO situation. Him in a car with Capricorn Clark and someone else saying, we going on a who ride. We're going to go KILL Kid Cudi because I cannot control my emotions and I am an extremely jealous person. Nobody's talking about the weapons. Nobody's talking about the car being blown up. Everybody, like Ray J and those other two clowns that I just talked about, they're discussing the sex because they're relating themselves to being in similar situations. Maybe not with all the baby oil and the lube and and hotel rooms for weeks on end and spending the type of money that Diddy was spending because they don't have the type of money that he has to blow. But I'm saying they relate themselves to him sexually because they live the same type of reckless lifestyles. You don't see real men out here defending Diddy. If anything, they may not say anything about it, like just keeping their mouths shut about the full situation versus saying, you know what, I ain't down with Diddy and, you know, I don't stand for what he stands for and we'll see what the court says. They're not even saying anything. The reason why people like Ray J, that fat clown, DJ Akademiks, and the other clown with the long face was sitting over there with him, they relate themselves to him sexually. And that's it.
The whole oral thing with the 19 guys and the blisters. I mean, it feels like they're just trying to paint these pictures of Diddy. And I was around Diddy all the way pretty much up until the arrest.
It speaks about the force. That woman was not like, you know what? Yeah, I got all these sores in my mouth, STDs and whatnot, oral STDs, probably vaginal STDs. But you know what? I want to get down with the freak off anyway. She was letting it be known that whether she was on her cycle, whether she had blisters all in her mouth or whatever, she was still forced to do these things she didn't want to do, comply and act like she was happy to do it. She couldn't even act like she didn't want to do it. Disgusting. Oh my God, it's so gross.
And all I got from that when I hung out with Diddy, and this is word to my mom and kids, he's always inspired me to be great. When I left, I felt like I could do more for my business. I felt like I had more power because I wanted to be more vocal in running my companies and call my wife if we were getting into it and send her flowers. I mean, these are all the things he was instilling to me and all of the young guys around that were inspired and you know, look at him as a mentor.
Yeah, you're a terrible husband. So, I mean, that doesn't really speak well to your character that you were getting advice from Sean Combs, Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever else, Love, and all the other freaky nicknames that he called himself, because you are not a good husband. You're not. And so, you know, you may not be doing all the things that Puff Daddy, Diddy, Sean Combs was doing to Cassie, but that's not a flex to say that he was a good role model. I'm not even going to share any more of this. If you want to check out that interview, you can go to Piers Morgan's YouTube channel to check it out. But listen, guys, I just wanted to share a little bit of some of those voices that defend him, but really they're exposing themselves. They may not realize it, or they may not even really care. But I feel like it's important to note this because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be convicted. And hell, if he gets convicted, it's possible that he could get a pardon by 45/47 because he likes the criminals that have things in common with him, which are people that have had some celebrity, money, have been caught in financial or sexual crimes, and are serving time. And that makes it a high likelihood that if he is convicted, that he could possibly get a pardon. Okay, I'm just going ahead and preparing you guys for it because, as you know, he just recently pardoned the Chrisleys. I haven't talked about that yet, but I plan on doing it. But yeah, guys, these males are the ones that are defending Diddy. Those are just a few examples, but real men are not out here defending him. They're not. Real men are not out here defending him at all. At all. Not just the, oh, well, you know, he's a terrible person when it comes to what he did to Cassie, and I won't stand for DV. But when you put the but in there, you've already canceled out what you said before that. You are someone that relates yourself to this master narcissist and just a terrible human being, honestly. So, yeah, real men don't defend Diddy, period. And hey, if you are a male that, you know, you're out here and you're defending him, or you're saying, you know, you're just trying to be objective or whatever like that, then I question your integrity. I really do. So, yeah, it's possible that he could get not convicted, or he could get convicted. We don't really know what the end result is going to be, but we'll just keep watching, and I'll continue to talk about it as I see fit. I'm definitely not one of these people that's doing all day coverage or doing, you know, updates all of the time on this stuff because it's really dark. But for those who are doing it, kudos to you guys. And I'll get my updates from you if I feel like listening to it. But anyway, guys, you let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking and subscribing. And yeah, let's get into it in the comments.